What's up, DC Nation? Welcome back to another video on Gotham Resistance. Now guys, this whole series so far has been pretty cool. It's been one part. We pretty much explained and reviewed Teen Titans number 12, and what we saw in that issue was Damian Wayne pretty much going to Gotham, and Gotham pretty much now has like rings, and Challenger's Mountain has pretty much erupted from it like suddenly. But what we have is all these different rings in these sections of Gotham ruled by different villains. Now like Mr. Freeze, Riddler, Bane, different ones like Firefly, and guys, all of them have been getting like this card that pretty much grants them like pretty much unlimited power and no rules by the Batman who laughs, and that's what he's trying to do. And in the Challenger's Mountain, he's pretty much trying to hold off different heroes with these villains, so it gives Barbados time to take over the DC universe. Because guys, as we know, Batman's gone. Like, he's been in the Dark Multiverse. Superman and Wonder Woman have been taken down. All the heroes have been transported away because the evil Dark Nets had taken over their city. So this final group of heroes, Robin, Harley, Killer Croc, Green Arrow, and now Nightwing, are teaming up going into Gotham to save Batman because they believe he's still alive. Well, like, he is still alive, but they believe he's like in Gotham, but he's actually in the Dark Multiverse. So in this issue, we're going to see now Mr. Freeze get unlimited power and Nightwing join the team. Now guys, if you like the video, give a big thumbs up. If you like the content drop, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I release great DC Comics content every day that you don't want to miss out on. And by tomorrow, I'll have part 3, which is Suicide Squad, so you don't want to miss out on that too. Alright guys, enough this intro. Let's get to Gotham Resistance, part 2. So guys, diving in, we got this dope cover right here. It's pretty cool, and it shows Nightwing. Guys, he has like his sticks, and he has like this thermal armor on to pretty much protect him from the cold. And it's a different costume. It's not his regular costume. And we see Batman Blast in the background. Like, Batman Blast is in the background, like all these different covers, because he's kind of like the main villain of this 4-part crossover. And then we see like a Frost Giant, Mr. Freeze. So it gets you really excited for the issue. Now, diving in, it has like the same intro from last issue, just instead of the Riddler, it's Mr. Freeze. You see Batman Blast make it into Arkham Asylum, and it's 2 days since pretty much Challenger's Mountain has erupted in Gotham. So it's been 2 days, and we see all these different guards get killed by the Batman Blast and his crows, which guys, his crows are pretty much the Robins, evil Robins. And we see Mr. Freeze, he's like, what the heck's going on? And he's like, who are you? And Batman Blast comes, he's like, hey, play my game, here's a card, deal it. Pretty much he gives you unlimited power, no rules. And Mr. Freeze is like, who are you? Are you the Batman? Are you Joker? And Batman Blast is like, no, I'm something else. I come from the bottom, pretty much all the darkness. So it's pretty interesting because Mr. Freeze kind of guessed it, because Batman Blast is a Batman Joker hybrid. Now, continue on, we see pretty much this double page, splash page of Nightwing, Harley, Killer Croc, Damian, and Green Arrow taking out this big Frost Giant. His last issue ended with Nightwing being chased by this Frost Giant. And guys, we see Nightwing pretty much monologuing. He's like, I would never thought that pretty much Gotham would be taken over by like Frost Giants. Like, this is pretty crazy. And he says it's been 3 days since like Challenger's Mountain has pretty much erupted, a day since he's went to Gotham, and Nightwing pretty much went on his own. He went with nobody else. Pretty much the same way that Damian went at the beginning of last issue. And guys, you see him, it's like been 2 days since that he like teamed up with Batman. Like, Batman gave him orders in Dark Knight's Metal number 2 to pretty much distract the Justice League. Because as we remember, guys, what happened in Dark Knight's Metal number 2 was Nightwing pretty much disguised himself as Batman using the same different hologram technology that he used at the beginning of Scott Snyder's Batman run. It was pretty interesting. So it's been 2 days since that, and Nightwing doesn't know where Batman is, so he's going to Gotham to pretty much find him. And guys, they keep fighting, and he's like, I'm happy that I don't wear my normal suit, because like, pretty much tights and stuff. Like, his normal suits is pretty much like tights, very like stuck to his skin. So he's like, that would not be good to like pretty much be in the cold, like he'd be freezing. So he's like, I went to a bat cave, found like this thermal armor, and it works perfectly. Now, he tells Killer Croc, he's like, this way, get that thing moving this way. And Harley's like, what is he talking about? And Killer Croc's like, oh, I know what you're talking about, kid. And he then hits the like Frost Giant into like this railroad, and the big train comes by and destroys this Frost Giant. Because what Nightwing was trying to tell him is during this time, it's rush hour. So that means that this train always comes by, so it's the perfect time to destroy this Frost Giant. Now, it gets destroyed, and Harley's like, yay, we did it. And Damian's like, Nightwing, this is what you've been doing. You told me you were going to do something alone. You didn't tell me you were going to go with Batman. You pretty much stuck me with this nanny, which guy, he pretty much calls Green Arrow a nanny, because Green Arrow's been like protecting him, helping him out, and Green Arrow's like, what the heck? Green Arrow thinks Damian's arrogant, but like he's also pretty smart too. And Batman told Green Arrow to pretty much protect him if Batman ever got like pretty much lost and he was gone. Now, Nightwing pretty much turns around. You see his forehead just bleeding, and all of them look at him like, "What happened?" And Damian's like, "Your head, the wound you received from Nightwing's like from Deathwing with Simon Hurt." And guys, way back in like it was Nightwing number 15 through 20, the Rebirth series, which is a great series up to like the whole Rick Grayson stuff. Actually, up till like issue number 4, it started going crappy. But the first like 34 issues, where you saw like Tim Seeley take on Nightwing, you saw him go against like Dr. Simon Hurt and Deathwing. Now, Deathwing was pretty much like an alternate version of Nightwing, like evil version, and Simon Hurt, he just like dealt with supernatural stuff and dealt with like this nith metal. Now, guys, this nith metal, you see like pretty much a Nightwing was stabbed by it in his head, and now he can see like different alternative endings. So like he can see like stuff that goes wrong, he can see in the future. So it gives him kind of extra power, but it's also some trauma for Nightwing, so that's not really good for him. But as we continue, he tells like Damian, he's like, I've been following this like pretty much this spear, and you see like this ball, and it like goes away, flies away, and Nightwing's like, every time I get close to it, my head starts to bleed again. Green Arrow's like, well, what if this ball is leading us to a trap? And Nightwing's like, we're in a freaking like Gotham City that is invaded by cross giants. How worse can it get than that? And Green Arrow's like, touche, it's good to have an adult around. And they pretty much shake hands, and Damian's like, you're taking his side? He's like, it would have been better if I was with Teen Titans right now, because pretty much Killer Croc and Harley against Damian, Nightwing and Green Arrow against Damian. Damian's kind of on his own, but he can just accept like all these other people's ideals and be a team player, then he'll do better. But Damian can't do that. But guys, we shift to pretty much the Teen Titans, and they're back in like Riddler's section, and they're fighting out different monsters, and they don't know what to do. They're like, we'd rather be with like Damian, because he actually leads us, and we're just fighting out these monsters. And Aqualad's like, as the newest member here, I'd like to ask, what do we do? And that's when the Suicide Squad shows up, and he's like, you can say a lot about supervillains, but at least we don't send freaking kids to do our job. They're like, really? The Justice League sent you guys? But as they know, the Justice League are actually gone. And guys, the Suicide Squad have been like sent by Amanda Waller, and they're going through this place looking for Harley and Killer Croc because they've gone missing. And Aqualad's like, I'm ready to rumble when you guys are. Like, the Teen Titans are preparing to fight out the Suicide Squad, and the Suicide Squad's like, no, we didn't come here to fight out the Justice League Jr. Like, we didn't come here to fight off you guys. Like, we actually will help you out and try to find our members, and you find your member, and then we can get out of here or actually save Gotham. But as they are talking, in the shadows, you see that evil Robin, like that evil Damian Wayne under pretty much the battle last, and he's just smiling, like he's about to do something bad. Now, we shift back and we see pretty much Green Arrow. He's putting down like arrow marks, because what the arrow marks do is if they get lost, he uses these arrows to track his way back to safety. And he did that in like the Riddler's labyrinth too. Now Damian obviously gives me shit over it. He's like, old-fashioned, uninspired like you. Like, he's like, this is not a good idea, like this is not gonna help us. And Green Arrow's like, well, as we go along this journey to Challenger's Mountain, we're not gonna be able to use like technology, other stuff, because it's getting more, it's like closer to the medieval ages. So I gotta act like that. I gotta use my arrows and track my way through this. And Green Arrow's like, I hope you have your best shots ahead of you, Damian. And Damian's like, I always have my best shots. And pretty much what he means by best shots is Damian's like best moves, his best technology, ready and armed to go. Now, as we continue, we see Harley, and she's like, oh, we have eyes and like the ball. And they're pretty much following this ball and hoping it leads to something like Batman or Challenger's Mountain. And as we continue, Nightwing's like, I thought that scratch on my head would pretty much be with metal, but I don't know that much about mysterious metals. Like, I've encountered it a lot before, but I'm not as immersed in it as like Batman is. And they're continuing, and Killer Croc throws up because he can't deal with the cold, and they come upon like the statue of the Core of the Owls. Now, this statue, it shows that like, okay, the Core of the Owls has been gone for a while, and Nightwing and Damian are like, I thought Batman got rid of them. But Green Arrow's like, what are the odds of this secret society showing up in all this hell? And guys, as you remember in Dark Knight number 2, the Core of the Owls been setting up Batman this whole entire time. And they've been having Batman get exposed to all these different metals, Promethium, Electrum, Dionysium, Nipmel, and Batmanium, and then he was transported to the Dark Multiverse, and they pretty much welcomed Barbados and the evil Batman to our universe. So the core Val's been playing him that entire time. So when they got rid of, they're pretty much just like playing out until they came back. So somebody comes out of the shadow, pretty much monologuing, and they're pretty much like, get out of this place, it's my place, and it's Mr. Freeze. And he comes in a big splash page, and he's like, this place is a lake of ice. He's like, I am Freeze, you are in my realm, you'll get destroyed. And guys, it's a pretty big scene. Like, you see Mr. Freeze, and he's coming through, right? And he has all his frost giants, he goes to attack them, and he looks pretty dope. But as we continue, we see Starfire, we see Deadshot, and all of them are talking. And Enchantress is like, hey, what's this beast? And she's touching Goliath, which is actually Damien's like pet. And Rain's like, that's not my pet, but don't touch that. You guys are evil. Like, they're like pretty much bickering. And that's when Aqualad's like, I sense something bad coming. And you see all the crows, the evil Robin, just jump out of nowhere. And they're just going toward the Teen Titans and Suicide Squad. You see them just get like pretty much swarmed by these evil Robins. And all of them are trying to fight off. Starfire's like tied together, but they can't take them on. Now, Nightwing, we go back to them. Nightwing, Harley, Killcroc, Damien, and Green Arrow, they're fighting off these frost giants. They're not doing so well, and that's when they see this like Corval's Armory. It's like a building, and they go through it quickly. And that's what Mr. Freeze is trying to get to. He's trying to get through this armory because he has a bunch of weapons, a bunch of things that he can use. But our heroes pretty much jump in there, they make it through barely, and they're pretty much like sitting ducks now. They're in this armory, but they're surrounded by the Frost Giants and Mr. Freeze. But Nightwing's like, the armory, we could get a lot of weapons, we could stock up, and then go fight off. Now, he's thinking about this, he's like, I remember Batman telling me about pretty much the Dark Multiverse, how he will take it on his own, I don't have to worry about it. But it's like, what if Dr. Hurt was hinting towards something by like stabbing me with that knife? What if, like, Batman was, like, the gate, but I am the weapon? Now, this proves to not be true, but it is interesting. It's something that Nightwing would think about, and it makes, like, Dr. Hurt kind of very important in this whole Dark Knight's Metal series. Now, as we continue on, they get Armory, and they're getting all the weapons, they're getting stocked up. Green Arrow finds, like metal arrows that he actually found way back in his series, the Green Arrow series, when he went to Gotham City, like, a month ago. Now, they're about to go out, but Damien's like, we have nothing to fight for. There's just us. We can't take down Mr. Freeze. We can't take down all these Frost Giants. We have to find Batman. He's like, we've been just like pretty much going through random different villains instead of finding Batman and going through a path. And Nightwing's like, don't worry about it. Stop being like pretty much arrogant. And he's like, we will find Batman. Nightwing actually hugs Damien, gives him some comfort, and they get ready, and then they finally go out the door, and they go after Mr. Freeze. And Mr. Freeze is like, we'll fight you off. And Green Arrow actually says, he's like, we all look hot, so let's warm Freeze up. And we saw with the armory, they look really cool, especially Nightwing. And Mr. Freeze is like, no, the Quartz Army, I'll destroy you. And we have this like big, well, it's actually a pretty short fight. We see Nightwing, he fights off Mr. Freeze, Harley then hits him, they take down the Frost Giants. We see Damien give like the final blow, hits Mr. Freeze back and forth with his sword, and Grio's like, drop it now, and he fishes him off. He's actually about to like pretty much go on Mr. Freeze and almost kill him, but Nightwing stops him, and they continue to follow this ball. And Green fights another card, which Batman last gave Mr. Freeze. He's like, this is all leading us to Challenger's Mountain. We have to continue. Now, as they continue, Nightwing is bleeding a little more. He's feeling not so well. And Green's like, are you alright? And Nightwing's like, I keep remembering with this like thing. It's giving me visions of like Batman being transported to Dark Multiverse, Wonder Woman and Superman pretty much being drained through the life force, and all these evil Batman coming through. It's like I keep hearing this name, Barbados. And guys, what he's visioning here is actually the ending of Dark Knight's Metal #2. Where like Batman was transported to the Dark Multiverse and Barbados came out with all the evil Batman and sucked Superman and Wonder Woman of their life force. It was actually a big scene in the entire crossover. Now, to finish off this issue, we see Nightwing, and he's like, I always remember a joke Bruce used to tell me. And guys, our heroes are pretty much going through the freezing, like this whole like section of Mr. Freeze's place, and they're traveling through the snow, and they're about to like enter another round. But before we get to that, that'll be next issue. But for now, he's pretty much monologuing and saying, Batman used to tell me a joke. It's like, when I'm gone, make sure you keep the lights on. He's like, I would always keep hope. I would keep Gotham safe if Batman was gone. But he's like, I feel like that light is dwindling. He's like, I feel like everything is going to shit and we can't deal with that. And then we shift to Robin, the evil Robin, and we find out that he has the Suicide Squad, Teen Titans, and guys, check this out. This image is dope. Like, look at that. And we see the Teen Titans and Suicide Squad. They all have like smiles. They look like super evil. And Robin's like, it's time to pretty much attack these heroes with Jokers. And that's how we end this issue, and it leads into Suicide Squad number 26. And guys, next issue we'll see them travel into like Poison Ivy's territory, the Fireflies territory, and it's gonna get more interesting as we go. But guys, that's the explained part of this issue down. So let's get to my review of Nightwing number 29. Now guys, this issue was pretty good. I liked it. The art looked really good. It like really matched like the whole snow setting. And also I like the whole armory and the references back to like the Court of Owls. Nightwing's part of this issue is really good, especially that it's an issue in his series, but he's like the main star. He's not like a guest star in his own series. And I like all the heroes who are like pretty much looking out for, like Green Arrow, Damian, Harley, and Killer Croc are really great, and like I said, Nightwing's good. And then I like the twist at the end with like the evil Robins taking over the Teen Titans, the Suicide Squad. Adds a lot of stakes to this crossover, and gets me hyped for the next issue. Now I do have one problem with this issue, Mr. Freeze. Now guys, Mr. Freeze, he's not treated so well in this issue. Like, he gets powers, unlimited powers, no rules, makes sense, right? But then he shows up, he looks dope, and then gets beat. That's all. The only part in this issue he has is pretty much the villain. The issue is kind of like a one-off, which I don't like when Mr. Freeze is a one-off. Because guys, I feel like Mr. Freeze storylines, like the past few years, he's been treated not so well. Most notably is like Tom King's run in like the Cold Days arc, where Batman's kind of going insane. He's dealing with like the court, and it's where like Batman beat the crap out of Mr. Freeze. Like, that was a good arc, but with that arc, Mr. Freeze, it was like Marky has like a big Mr. Freeze storyline, but he was barely in it. Now, most storylines have been like that, and this is kind of the same thing. He gets powers, shows up, gets beat up, and that's it. Like, Riddler had a better part last issue, where we had like a little character moment with him saying like, Enigma, it's always end. The answer is always end. And it references back to his like his origin story. So like, they did Riddler well. Like, I don't expect like them to make like a big like game-changing development with Mr. Freeze in this issue, but at least give us more than like Mr. Freeze like showing up, he looks powerful, and then get beat up by Damian Wayne. Like, that's okay. Like, really, like Damian Wayne's good. He is very skilled. He's been trained by Batman. I get that. But give Mr. Freeze a more fighting chance and get hit a couple times and he's out. And guys, one storyline that actually does Mr. Freeze very well, it's actually very recent, is in Pure J. Thompson's run, where it's the Year of the Villain arc, and I expected that not to be so well. It's kind of similar to this one, like Mr. Freeze gets like an upgrade and uses it to fight out Batman, like very similar arcs, just this Dark Knight's Metal and that's Year of the Villain, different events. But with Pure J. Thompson's like 5-part arc, I think it was 5 or 6-part arc, we see Mr. Freeze actually bring Nora back to life and make her kind of like him, and it's like Mr. Freeze and Mrs. Freeze against Batman. His character development to Mr. Freeze, it's very interesting. I really like it. But other than that storyline, the past few years, Mr. Freeze hasn't been given enough, and I hope they give more to him in like future comics. But yeah, guys, that's my only flaw with this issue. I wish they did Mr. Freeze better, but other than that, everything else was really good. The art, the storyline, and I'm hyped for the next issue. So yeah, guys, overall, I'm gonna give this issue an 8.3 out of 10. I recommend it. Go check it out. And yeah, guys, with the review out of the way, we're gonna get to Suicide Squad number 26. But guys, if you like the video, give a big thumbs up. And you like the content I'm dropping, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the next part, Suicide Squad number 26, Gotham Resistance Part 3. We start to see him like go deeper into this whole like Gotham with like Poison Ivy and Firefly. It's gonna be really dope, so don't miss out on that. And yeah, guys, that's the video, and peace out.